And from the international now to the local. And an advocate of LGBT plus rights has been visiting schools around the Isle of Man this week. He's been promoting inclusion and diversity, some crucial things for any public school kids. Teachers and students have been engaging in workshops exploring the damage that can be caused by prejudice-related bullying. Founder of the charity Inclusion for All, Shaun Dellenty, is the man behind the talks. He's been telling Chris Cave more about this message, which he's really been trying to get across.
I had the real privilege of speaking to all of the senior leaders from all of the schools, I think, on the Isle of Man today, which A, is a tremendous privilege. B, the starting point to that journey was actually one of my really legendary rubbish drawings, stick figures, that I put up on a flip chart. And my invitation was to invite all of those education professionals to tell me what they felt the damage of prejudice-related bullying of any kind, but particularly with regards to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender plus identities, what damage that does to a young person. They all did it in every workshop throughout the day, and that's usually, well, it's always the starting point for my sessions. And they did it very, very well. And as I speak, we're surrounded by large pieces of paper covered in stick figures, surrounded by words and phrases such as feeling insecure, feeling scared, eroded confidence, feeling isolated and withdrawn, damaged self-esteem, damaged self-worth, feeling depressed, anxious, feeling like you're on your own, feeling alienated and vulnerable, self-harm, suicide. And that's really the starting point, and that's why we're undertaking this work, because if we don't undertake this work, that is what happens to our young people. And that's not my opinion. That's come from all of the school leaders on this island. That is the truth of prejudice-related bullying, and that's why it must stop.
It's one thing, I suppose, understanding how these people may feel. It's a completely different story, isn't it? Actually implementing change and changing attitudes of the whole school environment.
Absolutely. And, the first thing I would say is that I've had the pleasure and privilege of spending time in schools on the island now and with young people. And I would praise, absolutely at the outset, the very good practice that I see already around inclusion and, indeed, the attitudes of young people. And I absolutely believe that young people are ahead of rather getting old teachers, education professionals such as myself. We've already identified that actually, for a lot of young people, they don't even know why we're talking about these things anymore. You know, one of them said to me, why do you even kind of label yourself as gay? Why can't you just be yourself? And I've heard that repeatedly since I've been here, that actually the labels are almost the least important part of their self.
What would you say, what would your response be to those people, and I'm sure you've heard this before, that millennials are often branded the snowflake generation, those who are very oversensitive, I think you'd call it. What would your response to those people be?
Yeah, the snowflake generation, which is a label, isn't it? It's a way of judging people.
But do you think people of a younger generation need to toughen up? Do you think they've become too sensitive?
I would never, as an education professional, stand in front of a young person and tell them to toughen up. The day I do that is the day that I should lose my job, because that person's an individual, and the way that they process emotions and words and language and vocabulary, the way they receive those things is going to be extremely different to me and to every other child in that school. So if a child comes to me and says, someone in the playground has said that's so gay, and it's upset me, if I just kind of dismiss it as banter or say, oh, don't worry, or, stop being so sensitive, where can that lead? I know where that leads. I know where it potentially can lead, because in 8 years of doing this work, I have met hundreds of people who have lost hundreds of people whose names we'll never know due to exactly what we're talking about. So, snowflakes or not, we challenge it, because those people deserved to live.
Shaun Dellenty there from Inclusion for All, speaking to Chris Cave, and it